Friday morning, it was probably around 11 o'clock, I had a call from our camp, and they had been alerted by National Parks Office at the headquarters that an orphan elephant had become separated from its mother in a community area.
I got a message from Rachel, and she told me that there were some elephants, small elephants that were caught in the communities in Shezongo area. The place where these orphans were found is actually more than 50 kilometers from the national park.
The community were incredibly shocked and scared and didn't know how to respond to seeing elephants in their homes because it's something that people had not seen in that area for 5 years.
They were terrified, and elephants were also terrified. That's how there was this commotion and people started chasing these elephants away.
My job there was to ensure that those elephants were secured back to the park, but unfortunately we had the 2 young calves which remained.
It wasn't until around sort of 9 o'clock in the morning that the first orphan was then found and identified.
And what we did in that area, we immediately communicated to GRI, to the Director Rescue.
A team got together with their rescue kit and a number of keepers and our post-release monitoring coordinator, and they headed straight out with some National Park officers to go and scout out and see what the situation was. From my perspective, operating from the city and trying to support the team remotely, one of my biggest concerns was that they were about to drive into an area about 4.5 hours away from our camp, where they would for a lot of time be out of phone signal and in sort of very rough and sandy roads, very poor condition roads. And unfortunately at the time our vehicle had just lost its 4x4 capability.
When we got there, we found a group of people watching these little ones. It was a combined effort with the Department of National Parks and Wildlife, who actually got there before us to make some investigations and assess the situation before us.
The initial hope was that we would be able to reunite this orphaned elephant with its herd. During that time frame, a second orphan was found about 1 kilometre away from the first one, and a huge shock to even, to find 2 orphans from one human-elephant conflict. From when the elephant keepers arrived on the scene, obviously the community knew that these people work with elephants, but they were absolutely amazed as to how the keepers were able to instantly interact with the elephants. Teams searched the area throughout the entire day using vehicles, foot patrols and also drone technology to try and search sort of far and wide, and no sign was found of the baby elephant's family. Just around nightfall, the decision was made that these elephants really did need our help, needed to be taken into care, and were desperately in need of feeding, actually. So they had been secured with the rope.
We got them on 2 separate vehicles.
Elephants were safely loaded onto the back of the vehicles and secured with 2 keepers with each elephant reassuring them and supporting them. At this very young age, these elephants would be feeding very regularly from their mothers, little and often, and milk is the primary source of nutrients for them, really for the first sort of 2 to 3 years of their lives. And it was just very bad timing for us that the 4x4 had broken on this one vehicle just as it was needed for a rescue. And I'm hugely grateful to the National Parks Land Cruiser that was escorting our vehicle. The last conversation I had with the guys is we are heading out of this community, and I knew that they were going to lose signal at that point and I wouldn't hear from them again for approximately 4 hours. So it was a very nervous 4 hours waiting to find out, had they got back to camp, how were they going to manage in the dark with these elephants on the back of their car without phone signal and potentially with a car that didn't have 4x4.